What's up, guys? It's Coach Crocker coming to you live from North Carolina today. Had a nice little storm last night. It's a beautiful day sitting on the back porch, and I have the opportunity to talk to NCAA qualifier freshman from Virginia Tech, Bryce Andonian. I'm excited for this opportunity. He's going to be jumping on live here in a few minutes, and we're going to talk to him about his freshman season, some things that he's been going through since the coronavirus, and how he's battled adversity during this time. As we're waiting for Bryce to jump on, you can ask questions and we'll get it going. Bryce Andonian, if you hadn't seen this kid wrestle, you need to go check out his highlight page. He has led his team, Virginia Tech, in pins this year. He pinned a guy in 58 seconds. When you're pinning college kids in 58 seconds, you know you're pretty electric. I'm excited. I don't want to give all the intel away until we get him jumped on, but it's going to be a great interview, and I am looking forward to this opportunity. Again, this is Coach Crocker with Wrestling Mindset today. Meeting of the Minds. I hope you've been enjoying the great content. We've had Yanni, we've had coaches from Rutgers, and coach from Ohio State. We've really been tearing it up here with this content, and I hope you haven't been enjoying it. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to bring different sports out in the next few days, and I'm looking forward to even jumping on the baseball side of things here in the next few days. If you're a baseball fan, I got some things coming up. Hey, Bryce, what's up, bud?
How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. How's your break?
My break. I wish I wasn't on a break. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's been going well, though. I got both my kids. I got my wife home. She got laid off, so it's a family affair right now.
Yeah, how's the one kid that I met? How's he doing?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, he's just gave him a bath before I called you up. Had to get him kind of calmed down. I had to walk away and let Mama take over.
I was just
How you been? What's new with you, man?
Obviously there's quarantine for all of us, but just adjusting to it. I mean, switching my schedule so I'm not like lacking, not like declining from this. Instead, I'm getting a positive from it.
Absolutely. I was kind of giving you a shout out before you got on. NCAA qualifier.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about that. Second in the ACC. Led your team in pins. Pinned a guy in 58 seconds. Just looking at your stats from high school, 4-time state placer, 2-time state champ, Fargo national champ. Is all this right?
Yeah.
You don't keep up with all that, though, do you?
I mean, when you just said that, I didn't know I got the most pins on the team. That's crazy.
That's straight off the Virginia Tech website. I had to do a little research for you guys.
I didn't even know that. Well, that's good to know. That's cool.
Yeah, I want to talk about the first time we met before we get too far into it. Do you recall that encounter?
Yeah, of course. You got to see me before all of my season, basically.
Right, and I remember, walking around. It was I just took a chance and went out to the Wolfpack Open. Didn't know who was going to be there. Threw my mindset T-shirt on. Yeah. Brought my road dog. A little 2-year-old rolling around with me. I didn't know what was going on, but ran into you, and I was kind of looking at the board, and you were just making faces with my kid. Do you remember that?
I was probably goofing around with him.
You were, and he immediately was attracted to you, and so I started talking, and definitely could tell that you were all about the mindset.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what % of the sport of wrestling is mindset?
When you asked me that the first time, I was shook. Like, I've never known the exact percentage, but like in my mind, I wouldn't say 100% because at the same time you got to be able to have your abilities through like wrestling and training, and you got to have that at the same time. You can't always be there with your mind and then not have the training with it. But at the same time, I believe that you have to be 100% there with your mind. You can't have just 90% of what you think is your best ability, and then 10% you'll be like, it's fine, and then get comfortable and let that side of your brain say you're not giving your best. And so for me, the whole season, it was a battle with my brain mostly the whole time, and that was finding that your brain is the strongest part, and that can lead you to success or failure, either or. So I feel like
it leads you right to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100.
Yeah, and I'm pretty certain I asked you this at the Wolfpack Open because I didn't know you from Adam. What your goals were? We talked a little bit about goals, and you told me, if I recall correctly, that you wanted to be an NCAA qualifier. You remember that?
I told you I want to be a national champion. I remember that.
Okay. All right. So I had it a little shady, but it goes down to I kind of made a smart comment in my head at that point. I was like, hey, well, he's a red shirt. That's not gonna happen this year. And
right. It's not likely.
Talk to me about the red shirt getting pulled. What happened?
Well, in the beginning of the season, I wrestled the kid who was at the good kid. He's an amazing wrestler, Brent Moore. He's a beast. But I wrestled him in the beginning of the season before the wrestle off, and I beat him in the room. And then we did a wrestle off, and then he ended up beating me 6-2. I got an injury in that match. No excuses for that. He beat me, but I sprained an ankle, whatever. And then he was doing the season, and then I started training. He did a few matches, and then I was beating him, I guess, pretty decent in the room. And then the coaches just asked me if I was still down to start, because the whole season, like even before I started wrestling there and I was doing hip surgery stuff, like hip rehab on the treadmill while they're wrestling in the summer, I was telling them, like, when I get here, I want to start and I want to go to nationals this year. And they're like, obviously shook that someone's saying that, but I had that mindset walking into Virginia Tech, so it's always been a goal, So when it happened, I guess it was like, not at the same time, like, too good to be true, because like I envisioned it so much that when it happened and I was out there for the first match, I was just like finally taking it in. So it was a blessing. Everything for me is a blessing. I'm just always grateful.
That's and when we talk about that at Wrestling Mindset all the time, attitude of gratitude, and I don't think you're a fake kid. I've seen you, and I did more research last night and watched a few videos, and you spoke about blessings, and you also spoke about mindset in both the YouTube videos I saw. I don't know who was interviewing you. It was late at night, and the guy asked you, and first thing that came out of your mind was mentally mindset. It's all about mindset, and you believe that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But the mind and body go together. You've put in the reps, you put in the work. You trust what's going on because of that process, right?
Right, for sure. I feel like when you can go.
Go ahead, you got it.
I was just gonna say, like, I learned throughout the season that, like, when not that like I would focus on it so much and try to control the future, because when you do that, then if it goes wrong, then you feel like the whole earth is ending and then you freak out. But at the same time, I would have the envisionment of it, say before, like, I would go to bed if I had a match during that week, say I had like versus whoever, say the team, and I would envision, say Monday when I knew I was starting, I'd go to bed, and right before I'd go to bed or something, I'd write down my goals, write down my gratitude list before I go to sleep, whatever I was thankful for that day. And then after that, I would write down everything that I knew was possible. So that means from the singlet I was going to be wearing, the team I was going to be wrestling, where I was going to be, the atmosphere. I was writing all these things down that I knew was possible. I will see this, blah, 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 all these things. And then I went into what I wanted. I didn't try to control it too much, but at the same time, I didn't just be like, I will hit a double leg in the first period, in the first second. Like, I never went that detailed, because then when you don't go too perfect, then you feel like everything's crumbling. So at the same time, you got to be a little bit calm with it. But envisionment was really helpful for me a lot, because when I envisioned a lot during the season and saw myself beating these kids, say like someone who people didn't believe I was going to beat, or in front of all these people, and then it happens, say I pin a kid in like the first period or something that I already envisioned, like that NC State match. I envisioned that. Like, I remember the celebration that I wanted to do. Like, I don't want to get into more celebrations at all, but it's just the fact that, like, I said I wanted to get bonus points, and my coach said, can we start you and put you as like first in the match and like flip the coins so I can go first? And I was like, yeah, I'm made for that, so why not? I want to pin him. And it happened. So I just guess, like, envisionment is really helpful.
Yeah, and you talk about the Wolfpack. You know, I'm a North Carolina guy, so I follow the Wolfpack, you know, pretty heavily.
Yeah.
I saw you jump in there, and man, you were electric. You hit a move like it came out of nowhere, and you pinned that kid. It's on your Instagram page, right?
Yeah, shout out Jordan Long if he's watching, but that's the new videos. But yeah, that was I was surprised I hit that too. I like slid
How
off
about
his
that Wolfpack environment? They're pretty hyped up,
I'm
aren't they?
telling you that no, it was a little quiet after that. But they beat
No,
us.
after you did that, it was quiet.
Hey, respect to them. They beat us at the end. But no, that the gym there I really like. So it's like it's not too big, not too small, and it's like you feel a good amount of people in there. It seems so loud and packed, which it is.
Yeah, they've done a great job rebranding that program. Coach Papalizio, you know, he's a showsman, man. He gets a crowd in there, and it gets loud. Should have heard it for the Carolina duel, man. That was unbelievable. But that's a big time rivalry.
Like that's the environment we work for, you know.
How's the environment in Blacksburg?
I love it, and I feel like I don't feel I like everyone can sense it. It's a growing team right now, like a skyrocket growing. Not even just like us, but the fan base. Just like the team is going to be really good next year. I'm just excited for that. But being in Blacksburg itself, it's really good. I love it.
Right. And Coach Roby, did he recruit you, or was it Coach Dressel?
It was Roby.
And so and the interview I watched last night, you went with Virginia Tech because they showed you a little love early on, and made you believe in yourself, right?
Yeah, I like that. I went on I went on a few trips, and like I felt like obviously I felt amazing to go on trips and bus for that. Like the coaches are amazing at all schools that I've been to. It's just when I went to like Virginia Tech, and for the first time, and just literally did my feet in. Like say I went somewhere else, it took a little bit to get comfortable. When I went there, around the coaches, around the kids, around just everybody, it was like almost too comfortable to be true. I was like, I can be myself here. I can talk to these people as myself and not like put on a face. And my goal going into all these trips was like, which school do I like? Yeah, I can be fun for this day, but can I see myself being here for 4 or 5 years? And when I went there, I felt like I had coaches that truly believe that I can do the things that I believe, and that's be a 4-time national champ, well now 3-time, but have these huge goals, and having someone say and like actually look in your eyes and like root for that and believe in you and want to push you to that, that's something I want to be a part of. So it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. A coach plays a big role in the development of his athletes, and he, you know, you got to believe in yourself ultimately. But you do need that mentor to lean on a little bit. Say, hey, man, even the days you're feeling bad and the process isn't going, you don't have it that day. He pushes you through it. You mentioned it, right?
Yeah, I mean, not even Coach Roby, all the coaching staff there. Like, I remember, I'm not perfect at all. None of us are perfect. Like, I remember a practice in the middle of the season, the grind time of the season when shit's getting hard, and I was after practice just like really on the wall, and I don't know if that connection is good.
Sorry, I kept losing you, man.
Can you hear me?
I'm good now. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, so I was on the wall and just like I was just obviously upset over that practice, and Ty Walsh came up to me and he's like, "It's filling the frame. Don't get too focused on today's bad, and just realize that you're filling a frame to become a national champion. That's gonna take bad practices, good practices, but at the end of the day, you got to come forward with it from a positive." And just from that, I went from thinking like, can I really do this shit? Like, can I really keep going? Can I do this? To questioning myself, to getting up and realizing that a negative day at practice could be like a good practice. So coaching staff really truly could help, and that like moment stuck with me.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about being uncomfortable all the time at Wrestle Mindset, and basically when you make yourself uncomfortable now, you're more comfortable later. Would you agree with that?
That's
awesome.
what I live.
You've mentioned goals several times throughout this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Or do you write your goals down? Do you list them monthly, weekly, daily? How do you do it?
I would say do it as much as possible. Not because like life in general, I feel like is a lot easier when you have goals, whether it's just like school, whether it's wrestling, life in general. Because if you don't have goals, then what are you doing? You're just, I mean, living life, but at the same time, are you getting better? Are you pushing yourself? Are you challenging yourself? And I believe that like at least every day, write something down, but have a goal for the end of the day, goal for the week, goal for the month, goal for the year. And it's not that, oh, if you don't get it, then you fail, but at least you're trying to get towards something.
Yeah. If you don't try, then you basically are a failure. So at least you're writing things down. Then you learn what you need to improve on, right?
Yeah, and writing at the same time, I feel like has a different type of benefit from just like reading something on a wall. Because if you write something, I feel like it truly has something important in your mind, especially if you're expressing your own thoughts on the paper and putting it to life, I guess, into this earth. I think it just has some type of effect on your brain that it would saying, I'm going to be a national champion, instead of writing it down, then believing it and looking yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm going to be a national champion. Like, that's a lot different than just like, oh, I want to be a national champion.
Right. It kind of reaffirms it. And there's power in that pen. And like you said, it's like your brain really registers it. And when you write it down in your handwriting and you see it with your eyes and you feel it with your heart, you're invoking all those emotions. I mean, special things happen, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. How's life been since the quarantine, man? Are you back home in Ohio or are you still in Virginia Tech?
I'm back in Clee. I'm back home.
Back home? How's that going? Transition?
I miss Blacksburg. I miss the routine, I guess, of just wrestling every day with my teammates and having a lifting schedule. But besides that, I honestly like it right now. It's a good break, but I made the best of it. I've been lifting at my mom's house. We got this whole jailhouse, whatever set up like that. Got sleds in the backyard, so we're taking advantage of it and just spending time with family is really nice too.
Yeah, we're really pushing hard right now. I mean, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. A lot of people are sitting back, living in fear, doing nothing. So you're getting after it still. You're running, you're lifting. Are you wrestling any?
Yeah. We got a mat in my mom's backyard, and we just go in the grass too and do stance and motion and pull the sled in our stance and stuff like that. So I know a few kids down the street. We know Mike Garker and then Patty Gallagher's down the street too. So I'm good friends with him.
Nice. What was it like when you found out? And this is probably gonna be tough for you. When you found out that the opportunity to be an NCAA champion, since you qualified because you're second in ACC, was taken from you.
Obviously, initial was like hurt, saddened, because if you met me, before the season, like we said, like the Wolfpack Open, that was like right before the season in the beginning, and that was my goal, like to be a national champion. I wasn't even starting, and I wanted to be a national champion that year. So that means, like every single night before I would go to bed, I'd envision it, me in front of all those people, whether or not I was getting my loss that weekend to a kid or not. I kept that goal in mind, no matter how hard it got. And so to like have that goal for practice, when you wake up, when you're eating, I guess making it your lifestyle for a long time, and then getting that news dropped on you, it was hard, I guess, because like it can be like, oh, what was the point of all that work? What was the point of doing all that? But after clearing my head, getting time to talk to people, it was like you realize there's more to life. There's more that came from this, and I truly saw how much of a better wrestler I became in just this year chasing that title. So I can't focus. I can't really focus. What I realized was I can't focus and sit on the fact that it's canceled, because what is the point of that? Like, it's canceled. I can't control that it's going to come back, so I might as well move on, because if you're living in the past, then the flow's not going to keep going. So I had to realize, one, goods came out of this.
Absolutely.
A lot of goods came out of this season, and life goes on. Like, we're wrestlers. We've gone through hell. Like, I think we can handle adversity like this too. So I think it made me stronger and grateful for a lot.
This is nothing compared to what you've done before, right?
Yeah, and at the same time, it truly made me grateful for the season, just wrestling, literally just going to practice, all that. So it boosted my gratitude for the sport, for just being in Blacksburg, just so many things, going outside and hanging out with your friends or something like that.
yeah, a lot of these freedoms are taken away from us, and things
Yeah.
that we take for granted, and now either we're looking at it like we're pissed off and we're mad at the world, or we're truly grateful for it. And the ones that are grateful, like you and I, and you know, other people, they're gonna make it through this thing, right?
Oh yeah. That's the point. Just stay
So,
present.
so how did they drop the bomb on you? Was it the coach? Was it did you have a team meeting? How did they say, hey guys, NCAA's are canceled?
Yeah. We had a team
How'd it
meeting.
happen?
They brought us in, and we are all sitting down, and they just, I guess, dropped the bomb. You know, it wasn't too fun.
Yeah, it sucked. Were any tears in the room?
Well, yeah, I got a little sad for a little bit. You can't be too tough all the time. But yeah, I got a little emotional, for sure. Cause like that was like a whole year of, even before the summer, like when I was on the treadmill and training with my hip surgery, trying to get on the mat for like months while everybody else was wrestling. I was hungry for that national title. So for like to be training for something for that long, yeah, it's gonna be emotional. But at the same time, I've learned that if you stay stuck in the past, you're not going to be able to see what's in front of you, and you're going to forget what's going on in front of you and miss life.
Amen. Well, and you can look at it like this as well. I mean, you're not a senior, man. You still have three more chances, right? Some of these guys will never have that opportunity again. It's totally taken from them. So, if anything, you can be grateful for that, right?
Oh yeah, I have a few teammates actually that did that, but David McFadden, he was going to be the first 4-time All-American at Virginia Tech, and Cody Hughes, he didn't start 4 years, and then his 5th year, I believe, yeah, he finally got to start because his whole years he was wrestling off David McFadden, like good guys like that. So for that guy to get there and have it canceled, and guys like Dave McFadden, Vincenzo, all those guys that are up there, so like just I can only imagine for them. So that's why I say I'm grateful. I at least I get 3 more years. You're right, yeah.
Right. And you can use this time right now as fuel for that fire too, right? I mean, you're like, hey man, this thing got taken away from me.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the next opportunity.
I'm taking advantage of this time because it's obvious. It's like right now is a sit down time. Like, what do you want to do? Sit around on a couch or take advantage of these hours that nobody has control of? We can do whatever we want. So that's why I've been lifting like crazy. I'm not too strong, but I'm trying to get there.
That's awesome. Yeah. So next year you come back. Well, I want to ask you 2 questions. Number one, if they came out right now and said, Bryce, we're wrestling, they reschedule the NCAA tournament, it's today, you'd be in game on, right?
Oh, for sure. I'm cutting whatever weight we got to do.
I mean, everybody's got an even playing field. Nobody's, training. So, I mean, would you scrap up and go?
Everyone might have to cut weight for a minute, but I would go.
Yeah, 10-pound allowance for all weight.
Look at them cheeks.
That's funny. That's funny. But next year, you're kind of. I mean, people knew who you were, Bryce. But now they really know who you were. Second in ACC, you're NCAA qualifier. You come in with a target on your back. Does that change things for you?
I like the target. Then
Good.
I like it because that happened in high school. I won states freshman year. Nobody knew who I was before, low key, and then I won it as a freshman. And then next year it's target. And when I lost, saying like the state semis, I'll always remember that. The whole place was just, and like Ohio State, if you know it, that place gets packed, like packed.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Having that many people at like as a sophomore in high school screaming down your spine, I at the same time, as much as I hated it, I kind of loved it. So it gave me a taste of what it's like to be a target. It's not only a target for that kid, but there's a lot of people in the stands that want you to either win or lose. So you have a control over a lot of people's just like minds and just like dial in. So it's pretty cool to just be a target because at the same time, I get everybody's best version because they're going out there and they're gonna be like, oh, well, he's up there. If I beat him, then I'm gonna get my ranking up or some stuff like that. But it'll be better because I wrestle better when people come at me and they, I guess, try to wrestle me.
You mentioned rankings and the YouTube video I watched last night. You don't pay attention to that stuff. You don't know if you're wrestling the #1 guy in the nation or a guy that just dropped the red shirt or whatever, right? You don't care about that.
I didn't even. I've always been like that, and I'm really grateful for that because like you grow up in the wrestling world, say you're a kid, and And then you got kids like, this kid beat this kid. And I'm like, my whole life I've always just been like, who? So I've never really dialed into the people because, like, at the end of the day, I can come off as this tough wrestler and pissed off walking on the mat, but at the end of the day, like, we're all people. Like, we all got lives off of the mat. So I don't really look at a number, because then if you're staring at a name and then you look at the number, you're like, oh my God, that's this guy. But at the same time, like, he has to put on his shoes, he has to put on a singlet, and he weighed in as the same weight as me. So he doesn't have anything more of an advantage than I.
That's something we teach as well. You know, we don't look at records and rankings, and you start playing psychological warfare, man. He beat him, and then she beat him, and then I beat him, and then, oh my God, none of that really matters. It's all about what's in front of you. Say it again.
It's transfer property. He beat him, so I'm a national champ or something like that.
Yeah, it's bull crap. I mean, it's you know, you focus on what you can control: attitude, effort, actions. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure.
Aggressiveness.
You control it completely.
We also have this alter ego series, and I just know, as nice as kid as you are, and outgoing as you are, there's a switch that you flip. Tell me about that.
Shit. I don't want to say I don't know, but I guess, like, I'm very, very nice, I guess. I can say that, and I'm a happy person. I can talk to people a lot, but when I get my singlet on, when I walk into the locker room right before the match, it's like I don't say, all right, time to flip. It just happens. You know? Something happens.
There's nothing physical, or there's not a physical gesture or a mental saying you say to get into the zone. You just it just flows to it.
I mean, maybe if I'm at the hotel room or at my dorm right before I'm walking over to the Castle Stadium or to the bus, it's like maybe while I'm getting my, like, singlets and putting them in my bag and I'm already heading out, it's like, it's game over. Like, I don't have control of that. It's just like, once that happens, it's not that I go on autopilot mode. It's just like I come into just this zone, gladiator zone.
Yeah, I'm reading a book, The Rise of Superman. It's about unleashing human potential, and it's about action sports, but they're talking about flow states. They're talking about being in the zone. You know, sometimes time dilates. It goes slow or goes fast. Would you say you can hear stuff? Does things slow down for you? I mean, how would you say that your world is whenever you're in that zone?
Oh, that's a good question.
Just laser focused, I know, right?
Yeah. I've always, like, when I've wrestled, I've always just kind of, everything around me is just gone. I don't really hear coaches a lot, which is, like, if I look over mid, like when the whistle breaks or something, then probably I'll hear them, but I've never been able to hear people. I've always just been, like, then just through a flow state. And through all these matches, I started adapting, changing, growing, because, like, when you come into college wrestling, it's I guess a thing that I fell into, a phase that not everyone, but a few people, a good amount do, where they're like, what is college wrestling? How do I have to change my technique? Like, do I have to get strategic and stuff like that? And I started doing that, and I faded away from the wrestler that I was, the one that just went at it and just, like, try to score points and just have fun. And that's when I'm best. But then I got into college wrestling, which I thought it was, and I would listen to this guy and this guy at a tournament or something. He's like, yeah, college is more strategic. And I was like, college is more strategic. And I would get up 4-1 or something, and then at an open tournament, like, hold on to that 4-1 into the second period, and then voila. Then I go to ODU match when I'm starting, and I'm doing the strategic stuff. So I'm up. I take the kid down 2 times in, like, the first minute. And then I was like, all right, I'm up 4-1. Let me get defensive now, strategic. So I start backing away instead of just slanging shots. I took 2 shots, and I took them down twice. So it wasn't, like, hard at all.
Right.
And then I get defensive. I start backing up, and I open up this, and I'm trying to defend. And then it starts unfolding. I end up losing the match by a point because I didn't shoot one more time. I didn't shoot a single time in the rest of the match, and that was the turning point for me, I feel. Because, one, I got yelled at by the coaches, obviously, because that's not the wrestler I was. And after that, something clicked in my head that I'm thinking way too much. And, like, during that match, like, as the kid's hand was being raised, I was just, like, taking it in, like, the people cheering, him doing the breaking sign, stuff like that. Just all And I'm just like looking at all of this. I'm like, I know I could have just destroyed that kid, and that was a mental barrier. And props to whoever, I forget the kid's name, but props to that kid. He's good at wrestling, so whatever. Good for beating me. But I don't want to be like, screw that kid, I'm better. But no, props to him.
No, I got you.
Yeah, after that match, the flip switched for me completely. That's where I think I went undefeated after that match until the O'Connor match. But I was wrestling to just score points, just flow and just score points. And
Right.
what I call it is like a state of flow, and that's flowing,
Absolutely.
and just having fun with it and being immersed into what you're doing, having fun with what you're doing. You can be a state of flow with whatever you're doing, saying writing a paper. It's whatever, but you're fully immersed, fully focused, and that means dialed in and having fun with it. So when I feel like I'm at a state of flow, and then it's game over, I feel like Woody.
Focus, man. It's all about that focus, right?
Yeah. Check out the dog.
Hey, bud.
Right, go.
What's up, dog? Couple more questions. We're running out of time a little bit, but let's see. What's something good here? What was the most exciting part of your freshman year? You got one moment, or is it just all? I know you've had time to reflect. So, what was one? Is like, man, this is one of the greatest moments of my life.
I think probably the first match that I started, just being like coming out and just being a college wrestler, because it's like I've trained my whole life, and since I was a kid, like same elementary school, they'd be like, what are your goals? And you would put that down, and mine was to be a college wrestler and be a 4-time wrestler, all those things. And to talk about those things my whole life, and then finally look down at my shoes while I'm like about to go on the mat and like take it all in, and I'm like looking around, and like my face is straight, but inside I'm like, oh my God, like I've trained my whole life for this. And just to finally be in those shoes and fill the shoes that 5th grade, 4th grade Bryce envisioned, it was pretty cool.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Long time coming.
Yeah.
I guess, I feel like I know the answer to this one. What was your most disappointing part of it?
Obviously the ending. it not going the way that we all wanted it to go. But at the same time, I would say that's the most disappointing, but at the same time, a lot came from that. I'm not going to be like, that's hell. That's just, let's avoid that. It's because a lot good came from it, not only just for me, but I can feel like in my teammates and the wrestling world too. Like everyone's going to come back more grateful for the sport and just being able to wrestle.
Oh man. Well, I think the successful ones are. We all know there's negative Nellies out there that just can't shake. Well, they can, but they just don't feel like they can shake that mentality. But the question we've been asking with mindset is how can you make this quarantine, this coronavirus, the best thing that's ever happened to you? I love to ask that question when people are struggling. How can you make it the best thing that's ever happened to you? Because some people are going to say, it's the worst thing that ever happened to me. I didn't get to wrestle in the NCAAs.
Right. No.
Woe is me, right? How can you make it the best thing?
I view it as like, say, like New Year's, my mom's like, what do you want to get good at or something? Like, say you want to get good at learning the guitar or something. Learn something and devote your time this year to do it. And she'd say that or something, and I chose something. So that's on top of wrestling. That's on top of school, trying to figure out time to, say, learn a guitar. And you have all this time you're juggling with, and you're trying to get better at just this one topic. And here we are in a quarantine when we have nothing going on. We have all this time to just
24 hours we can work on what
I have to. Obviously I have homework, but like you get that homework done, then you have all the time in the world just to focus on yourself. So then it's a real question, like what are you going to do from there? Are you going to be the best version of yourself or the worst version of yourself? Are you going to help your vessel and be the best version of that vessel and devote your time to that now, or slack? And so I view time as very what's the word? Valuable.
Valuable, yeah.
It's the most.
In my real world life, I'm a wrestling coach, teacher, and I tell my guys, time's the most precious commodity in the world. I mean,
for sure.
Once it's gone, you can never get it back, right?
For sure.
So you got to use it wisely. And learning a new skill. Are you trying to learn the guitar right now?
No, I already know a few songs. I was just saying that for an example. I'm trying to learn skateboarding right now.
I got you.
Now that I can finally skateboard.
Well, don't go out there hurting your hip, though, right?
Oh hell no, no.
Oh man! So look, when you're a tough kid, especially you battle that hip injury, you come back. I mean, you qualify. You continue to amaze me, and I don't even know you that well, but just researching you, watching you, how you conduct yourself on and off the mat. I think you're a true example of how mindset makes a difference, and the belief in yourself and the belief in the things that the processes that you put into place ultimately dictate the outcomes, right?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for saying that too. But
And do you focus on winning or losing?
no, I've never like if I go into that like that, then the moments where it's down, you're down or up to, and you're like, don't get scored on, don't get scored on, and then of course you get scored on. So I don't go into a match focusing on what
Right.
move I'm gonna hit, what this guy is, and what the only mindset when I flipped that switch that I had was before I'd get on my knee and literally thank God for anything. Not even wrestling, I would literally get down and just make a gratitude list right before my match. And it would be the simplest things from thank you for this water that I get to drink. And that would just make me think about people who literally don't have access to water. Thank you for the shoes. Thank you for my mom to be here and get to experience. And then I started talking about all of these things that aren't actually just like, oh, this wrestling match. And I went from focusing on, oh, am I going to mess up in front of all these people to this is the best thing. I am truly blessed to be in this environment, be in this moment. And then when you have that gratitude feeling, you're on top of the world. Like, you're like, why am I stressed? Why am I stressed? Let me just go out there and have fun. And so when I had that, I had the mindset of just score points. And when I had that mindset,
Too blessed to be stressed, right?
right. And when I had the mindset of going out there and just feeling like calm, cool, collected, and then just trying to score points, and I had the thought, keep scoring points. It's not that I went out there like crazy and sloppy and just shooting crazy shots. It's my mindset was an offensive state. So that means whether or not he collar tied, I'm not backing out. I'm probably going to take it off into a shot, and that's going to threaten him instead of when you have that defensive mindset, whether you know it or not, it makes a huge difference because you can go from like leaning forward to a slight lean back, and that'll just be the move, the whole match right there.
Yeah, you speak of that, and Virginia Tech, do they still talk about attack style wrestling? I mean, are they still?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. Yeah, for sure.
Coach Fryer, Jared Fryer, right? He's still with you?
Oh yeah, he's the man.
Yeah,
that's why.
That's why you did an inside trip on a highlight video.
I was like, he must have learned that from Fryer because I got that DVD from Attack Style Wrestling.
Wait, did he hit it on me in the video?
No. You hit it on some kid. I don't know. I say he learned that from Fryer. I bet.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Was that true?
I wouldn't deny it. Fryer hit me with something crazy on video. He always throws me on my head.
Yeah, he's tough. Yeah, but I bought that DVD to help my kids learn, attack style wrestling, learn some inside trips and stuff like that. He's a good one to learn it from. So I figured, hey, Bryce must have picked that up from him.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but it was nasty. The one you hit, it was nasty.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So look, I appreciate your time. Anything you want to leave us with before we get out of here? The meeting of the minds, to me, for a kid like you that's so young and so focused, I'm just grateful to have this opportunity because I think you're going to open up some eyes to a lot of individuals today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, I just want to thank you for your time. Like I don't want to say anything. I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity for this interview. When you reached out to me, I was so thank you a lot.
All right. We'll hook up again soon, and I can't wait to see you on the mat again. Next time you come to North Carolina, hit me up. Maybe I can get you in here to teach my kids some inside trips or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Sound like a deal?
Sure.
All right. Bryce Andonian, NCAA qualifier and future NCAA champion.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you soon, bud.
All right. Good to see you.
See you.
Let's see if this works. All right, we got the volume all the way up. Take 2. All right, let's see if we get it this time. We're all in this together. We're all getting the hang of technology. I mean, this was, like I said, this was did not use this platform for a long time, ever, up until last week. So we're all getting the hang of it. All right, let's try it again. Take 2. Hopefully we get it. All right, we're connecting. Fingers crossed. I think I have sound.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, finally. Technology and me do not get along at all.
I know. I feel like I was always a kid that played outside when I was younger, so this stuff takes a little bit more time for me.
Yeah, I'm just not smart. You're at least smart. I'm not there.
I'll get out of here. MMA genius. How's everything going?
I wish.
How's everything been with you and your family? Staying safe now?
Good, yeah. Everybody's great. Just hanging out and, living the sequestered life, so to speak. The big exciting parts of my day, I work out and arrange my sock drawers and read books and sometimes play video games.
Yeah.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
Any good books you're reading?
I am reading. I always read 2 in a row because of my ADD, I guess. But I'm reading from Bacteria to Bach and back, and then also once a year I read Lord of the Rings, so I'm finishing that up.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, 2 good books.
That's good. That's good stuff. I tell everyone that, especially now, you have this time. Like, try to do something, be productive, right? Make some kind of use of your time, where it's learning a skill, working on your, like we talk about, obviously a lot about mindset, but nutrition, do some kind of strength conditioning. I mean, the athletes you work with, what do you tell them to do during this time?
Well, the nice thing about being an athlete in our sport is that it's not a huge change. The only huge change really is going out. Like, you basically, if you live at the gym, which a lot of them do, they just go downstairs and work out, and then they come and go, go back and play video games or eat or do, and then they go downstairs and train again. So a lot of them, the routine isn't hugely different. But for those of the biggest thing I think that they have to fight is that boredom, right? They're used to having that release. So I don't think motivation's the problem. I think they get restless, and then sometimes they make bad decisions. Sometimes they make good decisions, but it's that restlessness. I think when you're an athlete, you want to do, and you need that stimulation. So I think that's their number one challenge, much more than the motivation.
Makes sense. Play around now. I got to tell you, Greg, when I saw one of the things I was really impressed by, I remember watching UFC back in the day, and I remember seeing on one of the athletes' statistics, like keys of success, and it said like college wrestler, jiu-jitsu, trained by Greg Jackson.
Yeah.
No, to me, I said, man, that's great. What a compliment. What a shout out to you right there. That's one of his attributes.
Right. Yeah. I wish that was always true. I'm very lucky that I get to do what I love, and I'm very lucky I've got to work with a lot of great people. But I mean, really, it's all luck. Like, I got into MMA super early, right when it started, and I'm just the old dinosaur that's been around long enough to make a bunch of terrible mistakes and kind of climb back out of that. So it's been really good to me. I love the sport so much. I love everything about it, and it's been a heck of a journey. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. So a little bit more than luck. Yeah, a little bit of luck, but hard work, or what is it? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? So one thing that always really stuck out to me, because when I'm watching fights, when I'm watching sports, I'm trying to get inside the athlete's head, the coach's head, and seeing what's going on. So I might be picking up on certain things, like maybe missing some of the action, but maybe picking on some mental things that other people might miss. I always notice you have a very calm demeanor. And it just seems like, giving your athletes very simple cues, what to focus on. I guess my big question and thoughts are, what do you do to prepare these athletes mentally, the preparation before the fight, and then also during the fight? What are you thinking with relating to the people? I know everyone's a little bit different, but there's some general principles that would help coaches.
Well, that's it. I mean, you hit the nail on the head when you said everyone's different. The general principle is that if you come in saying everybody deals with pressure the same way, everybody deals with judgment the same way, everybody deals with pain the same way, that I think is the biggest mistake. It's like everybody doing the exact same diet. And you're right, there are underlying, ubiquitous principles that kind of govern that. But the first thing you have to understand is that not everybody is the same. The moves will be kind of the same, right? Like a punch is a punch. You might throw it a little bit differently to a very small degree, but that's kind of the same. But people's approach, their mindset, their utility, like what they like to do and what they don't like to do, that's very, very different. So my first big issue is identifying it. Like let's say that you're my athlete and you fight. So I'll watch tape on you. If there's tape available, I'll see what you do. Then I talk to you about the process. What do you feel before you go into the fight, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes the hardest point for a fighter is just getting to the cage, right? It's so much pressure. It's so crazy. Everyone's so judgmental that just getting to the cage is hard. And then just going through that experience, right? There's somebody trying to knock your block off in there. So the whole thing can be very traumatic. Some fighters will thrive on that. They just love all the attention and all the spotlight. And so the cage is all right to them, but it's not as fun as the outside. And they kind of do the inside work in the cage so that they can live their life outside of the cage. There's some people that like both. So you have to identify each of those individual factors and then find what motivates them. Rarely I'll yell at people. Very rarely I'll have to get up on their grill. But most fighters, especially at the level that I'm working with now, like screaming at them isn't going to make them suddenly do, you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, I didn't realize I was messing up. Let me fix it. Usually at that level, it's not the case. I'll tell people you got to get on them. There is very.
And that is a wrap from today's podcast. I'm Gene Zanetti from Winning Mindset. Make sure you guys go to our website. Make sure you go to zwinningmindset.com. Make sure you buy the book. The ebook is great, excellent information, represents some of the great information that we've learned from top athletes, working with some of the top teams and individuals all across the country. Go to our website, zwinningmindset.com. Make sure you get the ebook. Also, make sure as an individual you sign up for the one-on-one free trial consultation. That's the one-on-one free trial consultation with one of our mindset coaches. The best results always come from one-on-one attention, whether it's strength training, whether it's technique, or whether it's mindset. One-on-one is always the best. Thanks for staying with us. Make sure you join us next time for the next episode. Mindset makes the difference. Have a great day.